Hello. I wanted to show you what you can do with your spelt. You can make a spelt soup. It's actually called Dinkel in German, so it's called Dinkle Soup. And you want a cup of spelt soaked. So that looks good. There's a cup of spelt. This water is going to come out slow because I've already filled the pot for making some chicken broth. So I'm making this in a 3-cup jar. You probably want to cover it with maybe an inch or 2 of water. Normally you would let this sit overnight, but I'm starting this in the morning. It's 6 o'clock, so I'll be able to make this soup really anytime this afternoon. Alright, so I'm just going to let that sit. I'll put a lid on it. And I'm soaking the spelt. That's the first step. You want to soak your spelt overnight or all day long. And I'll show you how to make the rest of the soup when that's ready. Alright, while the sausage is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and cut up the vegetables. For this recipe, I need 1 whole onion. That onion is going to cook in a couple tablespoons of fat. Use whatever good fat you have. I'm going to go ahead and use chicken fat today. You can use butter, you can use tallow, you could use the sausage drippings. Avoid any manufactured oils. They're not really healthy for you. Okay, I like my onions kind of small, so if you like bigger chunks of onion, that's fine. Cut them however you like them. This is actually the last onion from my garden, so it's not too bad. It's January 4th today, so that's pretty good. Although, admittedly, I have bought some onions. I think I bought a bag of onions last week because I wanted to make some onion soup, and I knew that I didn't have enough onions for that at home, so I bought a bag of them. Okay, we're going to let the onions cook in the fat. The recipe says even for 7 minutes, till softened. The recipe also calls for a cup of carrots. I may end up having more than that. I really like carrots in soup, and I like lots of dare I say, solids in my soup and not as much liquid. So normally when a recipe calls for so much of something in a soup, I usually put extra because I like it plenty chunky. This recipe calls for 2 cups of peeled and chopped russet potatoes. I'm just going to put 1 potato in. A lot of times I skip the potato altogether. I don't care for potatoes that much in a soup, but I'm not making it only for myself, so I'm going to go ahead and put a potato in it. And these are organic potatoes, so I'm leaving the peels on. With the kids gone, for the most part, we are able to afford, or do afford, organic vegetables. And before you decide that you can't afford organic vegetables, I would recommend that you think about how much extra it might cost. For example, sometimes maybe I can get 5 pounds of organic potatoes and it only costs me an extra $1. I know that the whole bag of potatoes costs more than $1, but the difference in price, I think, is what you should consider. And maybe there's room in your budget to, say, spend an extra $10 on items, spend the extra $10 to get the organic version. Okay, I think those, yeah, the spelt potatoes, carrots, all go in at the same time, so I can put them on this plate. Gonna check on the sausage. I'm going to give that 5 more minutes and then take the lid off. Alright, the onions haven't really started doing anything. The fat is melted, so that's good. They should start cooking here in a few minutes. Whew, I can feel them with my eyes though. Alright, so remember the night before you make this soup, you need to put some spelt in water to soak. And this is the 1 cup of spelt that I had started with, and you can see it didn't quite get up to 2 cups, but it did get up pretty far. I'm going to drain this and rinse it, so you want to do that. Now, actually, I didn't get a chance to make this soup yesterday, which is what I wanted to do. So I had drained my spelt and put it in the refrigerator. So this sat in the refrigerator all day today. Probably about 24 hours. And then I rinsed it a few times, so that's good. Right. Also, I recommend that this is a recipe that you can use one of your quarts of chicken broth with. The recipe calls for 6 to 10 cups of broth or water. So you could add a couple cups of water to this or open a couple jars of your chicken stock. Now, I made more chicken stock today, so I'm not going to open one of my jars. I have some in my crock pot right now that's hot, so I'll be adding that. And I guess I'm just going to pause here for a few minutes and let the onions cook, and we'll be back once the onions are softened. Okay, these onions are soft, and the next step is to add, okay, you can see them here. The next step is to add 1 teaspoon of caraway seeds and 1 teaspoon of celery seeds. And you cook these until they're fragrant, which is about 1 minute. And your sister-in-law and sister liked the celery seeds so much in this soup that she has started putting celery seeds in her chicken soup and some of her other soups. So over the last few years, we have really become happy soup makers. So good. This also freezes very well, so it's so wonderful. You can pull a half-pint freezer container out of the freezer and heat up a serving of soup in, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe. Or if 2 people at your house eat soup, then pull out 2 containers. Okay, I'm just going to let that cook there. I'm going to start measuring the broth. The broth is in my little crock pot. Yesterday I processed 7 quarts of chicken broth. Today I processed 7 quarts of chicken and broth and some bone broth. Alright, I'm going to start putting this in. There's 1 cup. 2. 3 3¾ 4¼ 5. Wow, it looks like I have about exactly 6 cups, so that'll probably work well for me. Might be a little bit more in there. The recipe calls for 6 to 10 cups. But you can put in as much or as little as you prefer. Alright, at this time you put in your hard vegetables, the potatoes and the carrots. Normally I put celery in here because I don't follow the recipe too closely. It doesn't call for celery, so today I skipped it. And you add your spelt now. Or, if you want to say it in German, you add your Dinkel now. Sarah laughs all the time when I say I have Dinkle Soup. It is a funny name. And this will simmer for 30 minutes, so you'll want to heat it up. Mine, as you saw, the broth was hot, but normally I put it in cold broth, sometimes even frozen broth or room temperature broth. So I am going to turn this up to high a little bit because the potatoes and carrots were cold. This cooks for 30 minutes, and then after that you add your 2 cups of sliced cabbage. I don't know, I may have to get another quarter. This is half of the cabbage. I have a small cabbage, but I might need to get another quarter out and cut it up. And you add your cooked sausage after 30 minutes. All right, so I'm really hungry. I'm sad to even have to wait that long. I've got like 40 minutes to wait till dinner. And it's already 5:28. Bummer, I'm hungry. But it's worth the wait. So I think my mouth will be watering for the next 40 minutes. And I hope that you'll get to make your Dinkle Soup when you're not hungry, and you'll have it ready in advance. This probably would be great in the crock pot as well. Just put it in at this point. All right. We'll add the cabbage later. We'll show you that, and then we'll show you the finished product. Thanks for watching so far. I've decided to make an adjustment in my plans. Because the sausage is hot and done, I'm going to go ahead and stick my cabbage in here, slice it up and put it in this pan, and it will be ready in 30 minutes for sure, probably. So that's a good idea. Yeah, I'm going to need more cabbage. Usually I make half this recipe because I'm the only one that eats it unless my daughter comes over with the baby. But I have a plan to give a quart of it away, so I'm making a large batch. The recipe said 2 cups of cabbage. I guess that's really close to 2 cups. So maybe I'll let it go. I think I got some of the core in here. Alright, so I'm going to stir this around. Put the lid back on it and just let it cook down. have my soup too hot. It's bubbling crazy. So I'm going to remove it from the burner for a few minutes. The other nice thing about soup is that now for the next, while this is cooking for up to 30 minutes, I can get all the dishes all cleaned up. So that by the time dinner is ready or I'm ready to eat, it's just a matter of one pot, a bowl, and a spoon for cleanup later. So I like that part. Okay, I think you want to stir the cabbage around until you see that it has been covered with the fat or the grease, if you want to call it that. But healthy animals give us healthy animal fat, and so that's what you want to use as best you can. Now this is not any special kind of sausage. Well, it's not any special pig. It's normally raised. Never saw the sunshine, I'm sure. But it doesn't have anything but salt, pepper, and sage as far as spicing. So there shouldn't be any MSG. There should be no sodium or anything in it. It's something that our local butcher grinds up and sells just as a plain kind of sausage. All right, so I'm just going to let that cook down. And Lord willing, dinner will be served shortly. I decided it would be helpful to send to my daughter-in-law 1 teaspoon of celery seeds and 1 teaspoon of caraway seeds so that she can make this recipe if she desires. She may already have these seeds in her pantry, but just in case, we'll make it easy. All right, so maybe tomorrow I'll stick that in an envelope with a letter, send it south, and maybe my darling daughter-in-law will send us a video of her making Dinkle Soup. Thanks for watching. Okay, my soup is finished. And it is really delicious. And you can see the spelt berries, potatoes, carrots, cabbage. I'm actually not going to eat a lot of it right now, but I am having it with some buttered sourdough toast. And I'll also, when it cools off a little bit, this is delicious with either some plain yogurt. I have some of my goat milk yogurt, and I'll be putting a spoon of that in there. It's really best to let it cool off first, but I want to get this video done, so I'm going to just put it in there now. You can use sour cream or plain yogurt, whatever you have that you like. Delicious. Okay, well, that's something that you can do with your chicken broth and your spelt. Thanks for watching and have a great day.